Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. West Ham 2, Sheffield United 0. Me and Lucas have done a tag team today. It's been thoroughly enjoyable. Lucas had the better half than I did. But Lucas, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I've been really busy recently. I've missed some West Ham matches, and if there was ever one to miss, this is the one I kind of wanted to miss because there wasn't really a whole lot of excitement today. I thought today was very comfortable. Very comfortable. I don't think we really had to get out of first gear. Honestly, I think there was only a few moments today where I really thought we upped it a little bit, but in the end, it ended up being very comfortable. I mean, this is no disrespect at all to Sheffield United, and I think their supporters will know this. They're just not that great, and I feel bad saying that because I don't like to say that, but they're just not a good side.
Yeah. For me, and Rich was having a bit of a debate. Yeah, when people say about they want West Ham to look pretty and all that, I want West Ham to fucking win. I want them to win. And listen, right, what does 4-0 gain, really? Like, I know it's 2 goals, but for me, it ain't going to change no one's opinion. If West Ham go and win 4-0, 5-0 today, no one's going to go, well, West Ham are back, West Ham are changed. But I thought it was professional performance, mate. I thought first half, we come out the tracks pretty good. People were saying about, I must be 3 minutes beyond the stream. And I was like, well, no, I think we're playing all right. I think Thomas Soucek's a man reborn. We've got to give him some credit. He's decided to just come back to Thomas Soucek of 2021. Do you know what I mean? So
I'm telling you, those shouts a while ago about Declan Rice maybe affecting Soucek's role a little bit. I think it's true. I think it's ringing true right now because, like I said earlier, there's just something about, and a lot of people don't like Paqueta out on the left for some reason as well, which I really don't understand because I don't really see him starting out as a left midfielder really affecting the match. He continues to play as free as ever, like he's on Copacabana. But I mean, there's just something about playing with those 4 midfielders. Like, they all have a certain role, and that leaves Thomas Soucek to just roam around. And regardless of what people think about Thomas Soucek, I think he does have a good football IQ. It's just you can be the smartest player in the world, but that doesn't really translate to being a great footballer. You know what I mean? Like Mark No, for example, he's probably one of the smartest footballers I've ever watched, but he wasn't ever close to being the greatest I've ever seen, and both can be true. And I just think Thomas Soucek's thriving in that free role where he doesn't there's not really a lot for him to mess up.
See, the thing is, right, before we get into the goals,
and real quick, we could have easily scored 4 or 5 today. Fodder made some really good saves.
Yeah, listen, right, at the end of the day, right, we've won the game 2-0, right? That's the first thing. That's the most important.
No one injured as well, which is always good.
And the thing is, if you're going for the 3rd and the 4th and someone gets injured or something, people will soon sit back and go, well, why are you going for the 3rd and the 4th when the game's done? Right, I mean? Well, was I sitting there in that second half nervous? A little bit. I won't lie. I said it on the watch-along. Right? I was nervous. I was thinking to myself, this feels like West Ham of old. Just sitting here waiting to concede, then you had 25 minutes to an hour. Like, of pure stress.
Yeah.
But, for me, it's a job done. It's a job done. But
yeah, it's simple as that. I tweeted after the match, comfortable performance, really not much else to be said. We're on to Germany. And really, there wasn't a lot of bad today. It was just, I think today just really highlighted just how
it was professional today, professional performance,
and it just showed that just how far off the standard Sheffield United are. And again, no disrespect to them, but when you let West Ham cruise to 2-0 and we don't have to get out of first gear, that's a problem, because normally it's the other way around.
True.
We usually make an absolute meal out of it, but today, just took care of business.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first goal. Jared Bowen. Where would we be, Lucas, without Jared Bowen in this team?
Mate, he is absolutely on fire. He just continues to score. I think he's getting his mojo back. And yeah, and the thing is as well is that they're good goals. Like, they're brilliant team goals as well. Soucek was involved. Soucek again with a decent pass to get him in, and Bowen finishes it off. It was fairly easy for us, and it was a great finish.
Do you know what? I criticised Soucek, yeah. I got loads of stick. I even got someone unfollow me. I may have to block me on fucking X or something. So yeah, hello to people on X. Yeah, if you block me, right? And then he goes against the assist, right? Which was like, I was like, oh my god, right? He done one bad thing. I called him out on it. The next thing that he was brilliant ever since. So yeah, listen, I looked at a bet at the start of the season, yeah, for Jared Bowen. You could have any player in the West Ham team to finish the top goal scorer, and Jared Bowen was the best price. Yeah, at 11-4, I think it was. He's going to become West Ham's top goal scorer this season. Like, where would we be without him? Like,
yeah,
God knows. I thought the goal was excellent. I thought the move was brilliant.
Him and Soucek, and just not them, but like, they're all starting to link up so well. Like, that goal really was absolutely beautiful. Like, that is football. That is the football I want to see.
Let's talk about the second goal. Thomas Soucek, a man who's reborn.
Antonio assists as well. And I have to shout out my guy. What an absolute ball. First time touch from Emerson. Yeah. All the way to Antonio. And Antonio with a very fundamental, lovely layoff to Thomas Soucek. And that finish from Soucek was actually really decent. He took a touch on his right foot and then knocks it in with his weak foot to the keeper's left. It was a really good goal. And again, just professional, good goal. Sheffield United, poor clearance. Emerson takes care of it, and then we see what we see. I thought Emerson was so good today. Another underrated, unsung performance from him. 95% pass accuracy today from him. Misplaced 3 passes.
Yeah, I know, mate. Getting at half time, and then we have to change it around, me and you. Yeah. I do the watch along in the second half, and I'm going to be honest, the second half was boring. Yeah. It was boring. Like, as a fan watching West Ham, it was boring. But if it's only boring if you're winning the game, right? If you're losing the game or you're drawing the game, and you're doing that, then I can get the frustration. But when we were so comfortable in this game, so comfortable. It's like what else can we do, really? Like, do I really want us to throw loads of men forward, trying to score 4 or 5?
And I mean, credit to Moyes, he made 2 attacking changes.
70th minute, Ben Rama could just come on. Do you know what I mean? Even Wolf says here, it was boring as hell. So I had to start taking drugs. We don't authorise any drugs on this channel. I will say that. But listen, second half. What did you make of the second half?
Yeah, it wasn't very entertaining. I mean, again, we didn't get out of first gear. Just a professional outing. I mean, this afterthought's probably going to be a little bit too quick, but like, there just wasn't a lot going on today. The first half is what we got. The second half, we just saw it through. Really no threat. The only threat that I can remember, Areola made a very good save to his left post. He basically dunked on Basham, who tried to get a header in, and he just absolutely denied him body to body. And
I know, man.
Yeah, really, that's about it. And one thing I was actually surprised about with this match, to be honest with you, I thought it was an incredibly open match as well. Not a lot of sitting back, not a lot of low block. I thought both teams ran back and forth most of the time. But again, Sheffield United, they just, because of their quality, it might not have seemed that way. And it was boring, but not in the sense of what you'd think it was. Like, when someone tells me, oh, that was a boring match, I would think, one team just dominated possession, not a lot of action. But I thought both teams were running back and forth up the pitch all day.
The thing is, right, with me, when I look at this, is that
and right here, this will prove 50. We have 53% possession today.
Yeah, I know, but the problem is when I see people saying they want to be entertained, right, and there's nothing against Rich, because Rich said it in the chat. Yeah, but the just Rich who said it. It's other people who says it. Oh,
we've got to cut out. We'll wait for Fever to come back. But like I was saying, I thought it was a pretty back and forth match today. We only had 53% possession today.
Win by any means necessary. I will say that.
You're gonna have to rephrase everything you just said.
I will rephrase everything. Yeah, bear with. I don't know what happened there. There was a glitch in the matrix. Listen, at the end of the day, yeah, it's about the W, isn't it, though, Lucas? It's all about the win, isn't it?
Every time it is.
Right, and especially when we've got a big game on Thursday night. We've got a big game, like Freiburg away.
No fans as well.
No fans, yeah. So for a game to set us up for the trip to Germany, I think today was the perfect game, yeah. We done a professional job. No one's got injured. We've got one criticism I've got today, yeah, and it's going to be a little, not a dig at Alvarez, but I'm nervous about him, yeah, because he was brilliant today, but one day he's going to get sent off for West Ham, and that's a bit of a problem. It really is. Like, even though the referee was absolutely shit and he was bad, the referee was so fucking terrible today. I'm not even going to lie. He throws his body into a tackle in the second half. If that's another ref, I think he could get another yellow and be gone, mate.
I didn't think that was a foul at all, really. No, it was a foul, but I didn't think that warranted a yellow personally. But I see why.
But could you see like something like that happening though in the future? Especially when I think he committed a foul in the first half, which wasn't a foul. It was nowhere near a foul, and then the second half, it's like he goes in. It ain't so much he going in and fouling the geezer though, Lucas. It's the fact he goes in. He's full throttle. Now I love the commitment of the geezer, I do, but there has to be a bit of a moment. Even Moyes takes him off straight after, so it proves it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't find those kind of things. I don't find it worrying until it actually happens, because I don't think he has a history from Ajax or even the Mexican national team. I don't think he has a history of being sent off or like an abundance of yellow cards. So for me, it will be a worry once it happens. But again, that, I don't know, it still kind of proves, it doesn't really prove my point, but I highlighted like a couple weeks ago that just my one thing with him is I don't like how handsy he is as a defender, and that translates a little bit to him getting yellow cards, being a bit more aggressive, because he does defend very aggressively.
Yeah.
So like he's not, I wouldn't say he's he's not a great technical defender. He uses his strength, he uses his aggression, and just like any other player, sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it bites you right in the ass.
Yeah. Let's talk about a few players. Obviously, we're saving that for the player ratings later on in rating them. But give us, what do you think of Kudus when he come on? I must admit, I was quite impressed when he come on.
I thought he was good.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. I thought, what was the one match that you said that you wasn't really impressed with him when he came on?
No, when he come on, it was against the team in the Europa League.
Oh, okay. I thought today was a bit like that, but just a pinch better for me. But I like Kudus a lot. I like what he offers, and he still needs to get his feet wet a little bit for me. I would have liked to see him come on a bit sooner, but I think we were trying to really get that third goal to maybe get him on sooner, but it just didn't pan out that way. But I mean, I like Kudus, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. For my own preference, I would love to see Kudus starting, but you literally cannot drop anyone in that midfield, wide, middle, or whoever, for Kudus, because everyone's just in form. And like even with Antonio, like Antonio's Antonio, he's pivotal to the way we play, whether he's shambolic or not. But like, you can't drop Bowen, you can't drop Ward-Prowse, you can't drop Paqueta, you can't drop Soucek, and you're not going to drop Alvarez. So, I mean, it's tough, but I like that for Kudus. That makes him have to compete. He's going to have to break through, and when he does break through, I think he's going to hit the ground running.
I'll be honest, and I'll get to Richie's comment in a minute. I'll just see it there. When the team sheet come out, I weren't really happy with Moyes to a point, right?
Really?
I really weren't, because I was thinking this is the perfect game for Kudus to come in and have a go. Yeah. Up steps Thomas Soucek to score a goal to shut me up yet again.
What's funny about the whole match, I loved the lineup personally. I thought it was exactly the lineup we needed to go with. And don't get me wrong, if Kudus started, I wouldn't have minded. But what the funny part is that we didn't score from any crosses today. And wait, hold on. We didn't score from any crosses today, even though Sheffield United is the worst in the league at conceding goals from crosses.
Yeah.
And Thomas Soucek started. So that says a lot. I think Thomas Soucek, I know what everyone thinks and like where everyone's at with him that doesn't like him as a player, but the man has not had a bad match so far. He scores the winner Wednesday, puts the game away today, and you can't start Kudus yet until he has a stinker. And that is for me. That's how I feel.
Yeah, but even then, even if he has one bad game,
exactly, he's built credit to a point. I know you don't like hearing that. A lot of people don't like hearing that, but he's got credit in the bank because he's had such a great start.
I agree.
And some people were talking like, oh, we're starting 2 CDMs, whatever. Like, let's be honest, Thomas Soucek's not a CDM. We all realize that after the first season.
Yeah.
And I just thought today was the perfect lineup in terms of what Sheffield United are poor at, and it's just funny that we didn't score from their one exploit that they're really bad at, and we scored 2 very good goals.
I agree, mate. I agree. Fever, I don't know what you're trying to say about attacking football. You're saying if we attack, we can see 5 goals a game. Is that your argument? No. What my argument is basically David Moyes, and I say Alfie says, and I'm going to shout out Alfie, aka WestHamOnline here. He said to me, James, he said, David Moyes is in a results-based business. He's not paid to look pretty. He's paid to get results. Now, today wasn't pretty, but he got the job done. And I see something earlier on, Alfie, he did make me laugh when he said about De Zerbi today. Got absolutely torn a new one at Villa Park. I wonder how many Brighton fans said, well, you know what, they looked good, but they got hammered 6-1. I don't see West Ham getting hammered 6-1 away from home.
And the big thing is, like, with the attacking football thing, and this is no pile on, but like, why would Moyes play attacking football like the way people want him to or envision when that's not his strength at all as a manager? Like that's not his identity at all. And even though people will say like we sit in a low block, I still think our counterattack is so promising and so exciting. I don't get the whole like possession and all that. Like I think we play decent football. I really do. But again, I get why people are like, I want to see entertaining football. I can't argue that. Like,
yeah, but if you've just traveled, listen, I get that. I get it. But until what people have got to get in their nuts, and they've got to get it round their fucking canister, is basically David Moyes is not an attacking manager. He's not. He's a defensive-minded manager who plays for results. He don't play to look good. He plays to try and get results on the football field. Yeah. And so far this season, he's lost 2 games against 2 of the best teams in the league. That's not bad. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just not bad. Like, and people can weigh it up whatever way they like. But there should be no criticism to anyone so far this season. Like, I see people criticising us because we go to Liverpool and lose. Fair enough, we lost against Liverpool. Fuck me, how many times have we lost to Liverpool in the past? Like, us losing to Liverpool is not a problem. Games like today are sort of games West Ham was struggling.
Well, what you just said relates to what I'm about to say, but what you were saying about losing to Liverpool, as much I personally was disappointed because I still don't think I thought Liverpool's midfield was there to be had, and I thought it was even for that match, but it's Liverpool. They've got an abundance of goals in them in that attack. But the thing I was going to say, we got to remember that our one season when we made it to Europe, we didn't do well against the Big Six, but we beat every single club outside the Big Six. And realistically, that is where our success is going to come. Would I love to beat Liverpool? Would I love to beat Arsenal? Would I love to beat Tottenham? All of them, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Of course I would. But like, sometimes you just got to cook what is consistent. And really for us, if we want to keep the European runs going, still qualifying for Europe and all that, we need to handle matches like we do today. And the old West Ham would have made a meal out of this today.
100%.
An absolute
100%.
meal.
Yeah. And it would have been such hard work. Like, I'm not being funny, nothing, yeah? Like, I will know next week what West Ham are really all about. Because obviously Newcastle are going to come to town, yeah? I expect West Ham to turn up in this game next week against Newcastle. Yeah.
This is where I'm at right now with what Eric said. We haven't lost to anyone we shouldn't lose to yet this season. That's refreshing. I totally agree.
But the problem is, it's people want. It's like people are so spoiled now with West Ham currently. Yeah, they want West Ham to be attacking.
I could never feel that way about this club.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And the problem is, yeah, we've got a manager that obviously I'm not his biggest fan, but I can sit back and reflect and say he's done a pretty good job so far this season. Because asked me after the Bayer Leverkusen game that West Ham will only lose 2 games in the first 7, and that's against Manchester City and Liverpool, I would have said you on severe drugs. Yeah. I would have done. Like you, because it just didn't look like it was happening. But listen, today, for me, to round up today, Lucas, before we talk about the future, it's a professional performance. Like, I don't get where people I don't get where this argument is with people, where they turn around and say, I want attacking football. That's all well and good, yeah? But I want winning football, mate. I care about winning, yeah? Because I've seen West Ham look good, yeah? Went 1-0. So, I'm not being funny. If I will take 5 of them results today over looking good and beating some team 5-0 once. I really would.
No, I totally agree. But about today, again, not a lot for me. Just comfortable performance. No real bad appearances today. I'm not going to count really the subs and all that, but like the whole starting 11 today, no complaints from them. I actually really thought one important performance I was looking out for today was Aguerd, and I thought Aguerd was very good today. He had a lot of very crucial blocks today.
He did, yeah.
And the only thing I can complain about from him is he got called out. Well, he didn't get called out, but like he left a defender, or he left Zuma all by himself on that one Ollie McBurney attempt, but he ended up getting tackled from behind, and I don't know how we got a goal kick out of that. But really, I thought Aguerd had a very pivotal bounce back performance today, and I think that will earn him another run of matches until, well, hopefully he doesn't have a bad match, but that will give him another run of matches to hopefully continue his form.
Yeah. I must admit, I thought Aguerd was all right today. I thought it was a good game for him to come in to, and he actually played pretty decent. There was one occasion, I don't know whose fault it was, but their striker turned someone inside out. I think it's either James Ward-Prowse or it was Aguerd, one of the two, and he's literally shot on goal basically straight away. I think it actually went wide in the end from what I remember in the second half. But listen, I think everyone today, I'm not going to strong it with the ratings for me, but I think everyone today deserves a bit of credit, if I'm being honest. Do you know what I'm saying?
I didn't think anyone was bad today except for one player, in my opinion, but he really didn't affect the match in any way, so there's really no reason to like harp on it. But even today, I saw a lot of Antonio criticism, which I get. Some of it I do get, like today when Bowen cut the ball back for him and he doesn't hit it first time. I get that. That's poor. But I thought he was all right today. People were saying he was terrible. He got an assist. He was active. He got on the end of a lot of passes.
I think there was
he is whether people like it or not, he is pivotal to the way David Moyes wants to play football, regardless of if he's great or good. Antonio, as much as I would like a backup striker, I'd love someone to compete with him. Antonio is just like, you can't replicate what the guy does for the side. It's
I,
hard.
I think there was a chance in the second half, from what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Bowen done a great bit of work.
Yeah, that was the one. He cut it back for him, and he just didn't hit it first time.
He has to hit it first time. Like, he has to. Like, I don't understand why he's taking a touch when he's in the box and you're 8 yards out. You should be your ball should be first time.
And he had a great little bit of play in the first half as well, where he goes down the flank, cuts in, tries to put in a cross, it gets blocked, falls back to him, puts the defender on his feet or on his backside, puts in a great cross to Soucek, who I think he gets over top of it. But man, I thought again, I don't understand how, like, it's the same with Agard. I've been able to separate Agard's moments when he switches off with how he plays throughout the whole match. And I think Antonio is almost the same way. He just sometimes he has a really poor moment, but in the grand scheme of things, what he's done in the match is, in my opinion, important. And like Agard today, Agard didn't have a moment that cost us, and I thought he was very consistent today. I thought he was good. And like I said, he made a couple huge blocks.
Yeah.
There was a really good, I think it was the first 15 minutes of the match, Sheffield United had an insane chance, and Agard saved Zuma's bacon. It was when Zuma it wasn't a poor touch from Zuma, but Zuma's going to clear it, or he's going to like do a little tap clearance, but the Sheffield United player misses it. It falls right in between Zuma's feet, so he can't really get a great touch. And then Agard's right there to make it an incredible block.
Yeah. Listen, I hear you, mate. Let's get to a few comments. Listen, if anyone wants to jump on, they're more welcome to come on. Let's get to Jason here. You can always improve. Important to show gratitude for what we have achieved and did well. Then talk about how to improve on that. Could us be impatient and forcing his way into the starting lineup? What do you think of that?
I always think that's the best way. Like you perform in training, you wait for your chance when someone isn't performing as well, and when that player who's training hard fills in for someone who's not doing so well, I think that's the best recipe to hit the ground running. And I think Kudus is. I hate rushing players. I think that's the worst thing possible. I get the excitement. I want to see Kudus. Like if I had it my way, if I wanted to entertain myself, and not think about West Ham United, I would have played Kudus today, 1,000%, because that's my own personal game. That's what I want to see. But I want to see West Ham United do well. I don't care about my preference or my own gain. So for me, Thomas Soucek was the man today. Hi, Charlie.
Hello, Charlie. How are you doing, mate?
Hello. You all right? You good?
I'm very good, mate. What you make me today? Me and Rich have been going backwards and forwards all afternoon. I was doing the watch-alongs. I know how you feel, right? That second half was drab.
Charlie, watch-along today for me was absolutely terrible. My Peacock app, wow. I had to tag Fever in second half. I said I can't do this anymore.
I know, mate. I know. What did you make of it today, Charlie?
I'm really happy. I'm really, really happy. I think I thought it was the correct lineup. I said it on the stream at the beginning. I was the exact lineup I would have gone with. And I think this is the strongest team we have. It's just there's so many things to like about us right now. So many things. And it's not just looking at the situations.
Like us. I love us.
Do you know what I mean? There's so many just good parts of our game. It's not
vibes
just
are unreal. I love it.
We are the bacon of football. I don't care what anyone else says. It's a beautiful time to be alive. We are the best. It's a situation where not only do we have sort of what we want going forward, not only do we have what we want defensively, we can also play well at the back now. That's a huge difference. Like, don't get me wrong, we've obviously gone back to the football that we found the most success under the season before last, where we were playing defensive football. But when we get the ball at the back, when we save it, Areola, Agard, Zuma, Soucek, they can all pass it around. Alvarez gets involved. It's really nice to see us on the board create things.
I said that against Man City when we lost, that even though we lost, I thought our play from the back, in terms of when Agard gets the ball or wins it back, and we transition it to our playmakers or midfielders and then transition up the pitch, we look so much better and so much more comfortable.
Yeah. The thing is though, Charlie, yeah. Now, I don't want to be negative on this, but I've got to be honest. Second half wasn't vintage West Ham, and a lot of fans keep going on about the style of play. All right. Now, I was watching the second half like you was probably, and you was probably thinking I couldn't wait for it to end.
We had chances though that could have easily been goals, like that Antonio one. If he hits it first time, that goes in.
But what I'm trying to say is basically how people want the best of both, and then I'm not going to be rude, but they can't really have the best of both with a defensive-minded manager.
Yeah. Trying to figure out a way how to word this. I agree. I feel like there's something. So the first thing I'd want to say, and it's probably the most important thing, I said it in your live chat the other day. You were doing a video. I can't remember what video it was. You were doing a live, and I put it in there at the time. No, it was a reply. You uploaded a video, and I commented on it. Yeah. And it's the fact that just enjoy it while it lasts. Like, I feel like we're so keen a little bit to be, like you say, style of football gets brought up a hell of a lot. Understandably, and I understand why. I'm definitely someone who much more prefers an attacking style of football than a defensive style of football. One thing, but the counter to that is that we're actually doing really, really well right now. Playing a style of football. Look, listen, I'm not exactly buzzing about going back to that defensive moist style, but we're winning an insane amount of games. The only 2 games we've lost are against arguably the 2 best teams in the country, one of whom is probably the best team in the world right now. And even then, during both of those games, there were periods, beginning of the Liverpool game, for example, where we were the better team. Like, don't particularly wrong. I'm not particularly buzzing about that style. If we weren't doing super well with it, I would definitely be I would be in discontent category as well. The problem is we're doing really well. Like, we just won our first trophy in decades. We're beating teams comfortably. Like, even today, like, I agree. I don't think our second half was that good. I think especially towards the end, once we took off Alvarez, it got bigly concerning. But realistically,
it has to be good though, Charlie. Like, be honest, right? Because for me, watching that game, West Ham didn't have to be any better than what they was actually doing. If I'm being honest, because Sheffield United done nothing. Like, Sheffield United, it wasn't like Sheffield United were bombarding our box literally every single 5 minutes. So West Ham was just sitting. There was times where I was sitting there, literally, and they're passing it from sideways to back in midfield, like just doing triangles basically, right? Just going around, going nowhere with it, West Ham, because Sheffield United weren't doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? So if you've got a team that's not doing nothing, West Ham are just sitting there going, come break us down.
Today for me was just a bit of an anomaly, just because I think I've said it a million times now. We all saw Sheffield United today. They're just not they're not Premier League standard, and their own fans will probably tell you that as well. And just didn't have to get out of first gear today. I thought we got out of first gear today maybe twice, 15 minutes before halftime, and kind of that area where Antonio didn't hit the ball first time from Bowen's cutback. But again, like
even then, by the way, even then I don't think the cutback was great. It was a bit too close to him in a very awkward way. But if he hits it first time with his left foot, which is the ideal situation, it probably goes in. He just tries to put it onto his right. But even then, the pass is like directly at his feet in a very awkward way.
And we've already talked about this, but the old West Ham, they make an absolute meal out of this today, maybe even bottle it. And I'd rather beat who we're supposed to be, especially outside the top 6, and we get that one big 6 win. Don't get me wrong, we'll feel on top of the world, but then we go lose to Everton. Like, I don't want that.
Right.
I think I was looking at the live chat as well as you was talking about that, and it's not about the idea of wanting more for me. It's just about enjoying it while it lasts. Like, we're doing as well as we like. Don't get me wrong, we can always do better. We can always play.
That's exactly how I feel, because at any moment, we all know as West Ham supporters, at any moment, this ship could go down. Down bad.
But I've got to be honest. I've got this comment here, I like Bass, Joe, there's such a thing as goal difference, which could be important today. Winning is good, but it's not the only thing we judge games on, though. Yeah, I know, but I'm not being funny enough, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if the team's not doing anything for coming forward, a 2-0 win is a 2-0 win at the end of the day. If we beat every team in the bottom half 2-0, then goals will still add up. Do you know what I'm saying?
But this is the second half of it, right? So like the first
Yeah.
half, and again, like I don't want to stress, just enjoy it while it lasts, because as Lucas says, my lord, it will crumble. Look, at some point, this beautiful run is going to end, and it will probably end pretty spectacularly. We're probably going to get whipped by someone.
Yeah.
It's Arsenal. Might beat us in the cup. Declan Rice gets the winner. Okay, we're all going to stress out at that point. It is going to
It'll be better than the Great
But-
Gatsby on Broadway.
but the second thing I would say is that when I look at what we have right now, and this is the me being realistic. This isn't the me being like, just enjoy it. This is me actually being realistic and looking at what we've got. I look at the way we play. It's significantly better than it has been the last couple of years. This is, I think right now we're probably arguably playing the best football we have since Jesse Lingard's been here. And even then, I think as a team, we are better than that right now. I think if you look at the players we have, yeah, there are certainly players that we feel like would be able to thrive in a different playing style under a different manager. Pakatara is obviously one. Kudus is obviously another one. We have those players, but we also have a significant number of players like Sufal and Soucek and arguably Jared Bowen and quite a few, Kurt Zuma, who are very much in that style, and we're making the best of it. And I can't find anything to complain about right now.
I think
even
we're very
Kudus,
close
which is
to
even
COVID ball.
even Kudus, right? And Kudus is the big thing. Actually, I do have one complaint, but I'll get on to that after. The Kudus thing is the big thing that most people talk about. Most people wanted him to start today. Most people want to see him play more game time and everything else. I want to see Kudus play more, certainly. I want to see what he's got. I want to see him in different positions, all that sort of stuff. But when I think about starting him, I think it's actually I think it's a massive compliment to us that we have such a strong squad right now and such a strong form right now that we don't have to start him. And two, I think it's good that he doesn't have to start, because we don't want a situation where we get this big name player from abroad, we spend a lot of money on him, we throw him into the first team, he has to perform in that moment. Like, he has to be, like, imagine if Paquetá did leave this summer and he was the guy who replaced him. Imagine how much pressure would be on Kudus to perform. And if it doesn't quite work out, all of a sudden we're stuck with another player who's going to be sold soon for whatever amount of money.
But the thing is, though, Charlie, just to say this, Thomas Soucek is proving a lot of people wrong, including myself, probably Mitch, all of us. Like, people have doubted Thomas Soucek.
Mitch saying bad things about Thomas Soucek, I don't believe it. I'll never believe it.
Oh mate, I took it so well the other day when he said Soucek was great. He used the word great. I was like, oh my goodness, that's beautiful to hear.
He's balling out of control right now. I assume James is frozen for you as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But Soucek is balling out of control right now. I just, before James comes back and finishes his point, I love that freeze frame he's in, by the way. Thomas Soucek, man, what a guy. What an absolute, he's just this season, he's just a different man. He got voted man of the match today in my live chat for the watch along. I've never seen it happen before.
Bro, I've got to admit, because when people were throwing out those, like, Declan Rice could actually be affecting Thomas Soucek, I didn't think they were wrong, but I was just like, oh my goodness, could that actually, like, be it? Could that really be the reason? Because, like, when you think about it, a world-class player should be making anyone around him, like, better, right? But, like, bro, I think those shouts are, like, coming true, because I was telling Fever, like, with that midfield four, Thomas Soucek has so much room for air that, like, there's almost no pressure on him. Like, he can do whatever he wants. And what does he do best? He picks up positions. And I was saying this too. I think Thomas Soucek actually underratedly has a very good football IQ. And just because you have a good football IQ, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a great player. There's been tons of players in the Premier League that haven't panned out because they're not a great footballer, but they have a very good IQ, and that's what, like, will keep them around for so long. And I use Mark Noble as a reference. I think Mark Noble was both a good footballer and had a good football IQ. But, like, you see tons of players, tons of talents that aren't the smartest, and they have those, like, great moments. But then, like, I don't know. I just think Thomas Soucek really is progressing in this new role. And I think we're not quite back to COVID ball yet, but we're getting there. I think we're a bit more defensive than COVID ball, but I like what I'm seeing personally. This is the type of football I like. Of course, I'd like to see us be on the front foot a bit more. I think everyone could agree with that, but I don't know. I really am liking what I'm seeing personally.
Yeah, me too. I feel like even there he is. Look at him. What a man.
Yeah, mate. Trust me, mate. I've got to get new internet, mate, because my server's absolutely
You started praising Thomas Soucek, and Mitch came and pulled out your internet cord. He was not having it, bro.
Mitch was like, "No, James, you can't do it." Listen, you just got to praise Thomas Soucek up. At the end of the day, I said it at the previous. I'll say it again quickly before my internet goes again. But Thomas Soucek deserves a bit of respect, and I've got to give him some respect tonight. Do you know what I'm saying? And if West Ham are winning with that 11 on the pitch, who are we to complain? But we've got no reason to complain. No one.
And if Kudus can keep playing the way he has off the bench like he did today, my, what an option that will be.
Mitch got those big ceremonial scissors, the one they do ribbon cuttings with, the big ones. I think it's not even a sense of not being allowed to complain or anything. It's during the week before matches, I don't really have anything to complain about. I think when you look at the game, I think there are definitely criticism points you can make of it. For example, as James said, I don't think we were that great in the second half. I think especially once the substitutes happened when we took off Alvarez, I think defensively we were a lot worse, and I think going forward, without Antonio, it reduced us because we didn't have the striker sort of pushing. We didn't have Thomas Soucek then had to sit and defend because there was no longer Alvarez there, which meant he wasn't. There was times in the first half where Thomas Soucek was the furthest man forward and he was causing all kinds of problems and havoc. That went away, so there's definitely that side of our game which I think I think my biggest criticism of the game in general, and although specifically this isn't about any of the performances, I just think not having Mubama is a problem. Like, I think if you look at today, Mubama, it was such a great opportunity to bring Mubama on, put him on in that striking position once Antonio comes off. You continue to have that presence. It's against the weaker team. He could have things in. That's something I'm hugely, hugely disappointed by. Not even seeing him in the squad, let alone getting game time, is really annoying. I get it, but if Danny Ings isn't even coming on at that point, then I'm a bit like, whatever. But
the last thing I want to say about Soucek as well is it's actually so nice to see as well that it shouldn't take all this, in my opinion, but like his link up and his play is improving as well because he's just got so many people to link up with now. He is almost playing stress-free football. He doesn't have to worry about being a pivotal point, if that makes sense. Like when he was playing with Declan Rice, and even when Lucas Paqueta was here, he had to be a bit more pivotal. He didn't have a lot of room for error. But now that he has players like Alvarez, Paqueta, Ward-Prowse, Emerson.
I'm going to be honest, Alvarez makes this team tick.
You know who I think makes this team tick?
I think I know who you think, right?
It's I.
Alvarez for me is just the perfect DM. Like I remember Charlie. I remember you saying something to me about a year ago. You said if we get rid of Declan Rice, it ain't going to be as bad as what people think. You said what we need is just a solid DM, just someone who sits there front of the back four and just breaks the play up. The only thing with Alvarez, and I said it previous to Lucas, is that he's a bit rash. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the geezer. I think the geezer is brilliant, but he does throw his body in when he's on a yellow card. Now, I do fear in a game.
That's how his national team plays, I'm afraid.
I know, but if you play Spurs or someone like that,
let's have it.
I know, mate. I know.
I think I was because before he joined. That was my big criticism of Alvarez before he joined. Whenever I watched him at Ajax, there was always one or two times, at least once a game, he would put in an insane slide challenge. And the thing is I'm the sort of person who absolutely adores that, but also I recognize it being a massive problem. So like today, for example, he's already on a yellow, and I'm like, my man is cruising towards getting sending off here. He is cruising towards it. That's why he had to came off.
We'll deal with the problem when it comes. But right now, we can't really worry about it until it actually happens. Because I don't think he's had that bad of a track record at Ajax. I could be wrong because, I don't watch them. But I mean, I agree. I think Alvarez has fit in very well. And again, even though I had my criticisms of him before, and there's still a long way to go, like just the fact that he is playing as a defensive midfielder and he's not trying to do more than that, it's a big win. Like, that is the one thing that I
Agree.
definitely agree with you on. That if we're going to replace Declan Rice, it's got to be a 6. Like, even let's use Calvin Phillips for example. I would have loved Calvin Phillips to come to West Ham when the news was all around everywhere. But again, that was one concern I had. He's not a 6. He's not. Can he play as a 6? Absolutely, but he's not a to the bone defensive midfielder, and Alvarez is. That's what makes the difference.
Yeah, I really like him.
For me, I love Alvarez. I really do. I can't praise him up enough. But today, when I was watching it in the second half, and he goes and throws that tackle in, and listen, it ain't a foul. He gets the ball right to a point.
It's not
another
a
referee. Another referee on another day would have been looking to try and get him off. If I'm being honest, yeah, and that's 2 games now where Moyes had to pull him off in like moments where he's gone. You know what? Like, I can't leave him on the pitch, which I do love Alvarez, but that's a bit of a concern. Like, and he needs to. Like, if you're going to get booked, you want to get booked in the second half.
I mean,
the last 20.
He also could have just been taking him off for Thursday. I mean.
Nah, he was taking him off so he didn't get booked, mate. Because as soon as that tackle went in, boys.
I mean, but he's left plenty of other players on the pitch when they've gone a yellow. So I mean,
true.
Don't know for a fact, but
I think when you look at our starting 11, I think it's having that backup striker and having that backup number 6 are the 2 big problems for me. Because they're the 2. Like, we can take an injury at centre attacking midfield. We can take an injury at right wing, at right back, at centre back, even arguably at left back a little bit. But like, even in goal, like, we can take injuries in most places and still have a relatively good player to come in. Obviously, we'll get weaker, but a relatively good player to come in. But I think we don't really have another DM. Thomas Soucek and James Ward-Prowse and other people can sort of cobble together to make something happen, but it's not what we have in Alvarez, and we don't have another striker like Mikel Antonio. Mubama can hopefully be that guy, but if he's not even getting on the bench, then that needs to be addressed. They're the 2 things where I look at the injuries and I go, it's super concerning. Those are the big concerns. Those are the players that we need to keep fit. And so it doesn't surprise me every Antonio coming off every single game just to rest up. It doesn't surprise me because A, he's blowing by the time he comes off every single time anyway, but B, we can't risk injuries on that guy. And similarly with Alvarez, like, we can't risk injuries and we can't risk a red card. Like, we can deal with it for a game. We can deal with it, and there are certain teams where we could even deal with it, especially in the Europa League when we go up against TSC again or whatever. We might be able to deal with it, but realistically, then we need to be looking at that in the next couple of transfer windows.
He's on his 4th yellow card now, Charlie. That's I looked at it earlier on.
Those Paqueta.
Right. And the problem is, like you just said, one more booking and he's out. Right, he's out for a game. For me, you are right. You're bang on. If we lose him, then we've got no other DM in the team, really. But no one who sits there who could be a natural solid DM who just sits there and
we have to change our entire system if he goes.
Yeah,
because you can't play 4-1-4-1 anymore. You have to go back to 4-2-3-1 in the way that we have been doing. It would have to be Soucek and James Ward-Prowse every game. I mean, thankfully that means Kudus probably gets a start for every single game, but Kudus probably comes in as the 10. Paquetá goes out on the left, but you do have to change your entire system, and it's not something we want to do when it's working so well right now.
I'm going to ask you something, right, before we come towards the end. And you're probably going to laugh, Charlie, but are you surprised at West Ham so far this season? 7 games. I'm
probably one of the few people who aren't surprised. Don't get me wrong. Even me, who was very positive before the beginning of the season, we did it. 2 Spanners, the show I do on the Patreon Hammers chat, and me and Ray do it together. We had a topic during the summer at one point. It was just before the season started, and we were looking at these first fixtures, and it was how many points you're going to get from those games, and like. The other 2 people on the show, it was Ray and someone else, I can't remember who's on the show, were discussing the possibility of legitimately having 0 points. And I was like, no, we'll have a good, I don't know, we'll get a good 7, maybe 8 points max. Even I didn't think it would be this good. Do you know what I mean? So even I'm like, flipping heck. But I was confident that we had the right thing going on. I think the things I am surprised about, how good we are on the ball. I think we're significantly better, especially in the defensive areas. I think Paquetá going out on the left is a huge, huge bonus with that as well. Him and Emerson is just so good, man.
Music.
They honestly, they link up so well together. They know what they're doing. Having Alvarez there as the sort of guy to play a little bit deeper, but can still like transition those passes. Sufal is all of a sudden waking up again. Like some of it, like he's getting assists. That pullback for Bowen today was brilliant. That's the sort of position where Sufal last year probably would have just lofted it into the box aimlessly, and no one's there, and we go, "Oh, that's an opportunity wasted." Instead, he gets his head up and pulls it back perfectly for Jared Bowen to just slot home. And actually, talking about surprises, both the fullbacks, because look, Emerson had a strong end to the season, but I still wasn't convinced by Emerson. I'm not someone who's convinced by a couple of games. It takes me a while. It takes me a while to be convinced when I think someone's been bad. And I'm looking at him and Sufal right now and Emerson, and I'm just going, man, these two are good. It's working really, really well. So even me, who was positive going into the season and thinking there is zero chance of us having a season like we had last season, even I'm like, ooh, okay.
It's just that dynamic. We have so many more different dynamics now in the side that
and I can see
we just didn't have.
I can see us going up other gears though. People have got this sort of criticism with the way the style of play, Moyes, everything at the minute. Now, what I can't understand, and I know like this is going to be a bit in depth, but what I can't really get is that we've won 4 games, we've drew 1, we've lost to 2 of the best teams in the country, and people are still not happy. Like I just don't get that one. Like I do, like, and when you look at Brighton today, that people try and say, look at how Brighton play. They got absolutely destroyed at Villa today. Absolutely destroyed. Do I see West Ham getting destroyed?
And we beat them.
And we beat them. We beat them well. Yeah. So I just don't understand the logic of it. That's the cool thing. I get the entertainment value. I do. But it isn't like when I watch West Ham, the first thing I think is win.
I choose the most beautiful option, and that's to not get them or understand them. I don't want to understand those people.
No, it's not. Listen, at the end of the day, everyone's got their opinion. Like, listen, I can see Rich in the chat saying like his opinion. Yeah, that's fair enough. But you have to give me some sort of people have to give me some sort of logic behind this like attractive football. Because if West Ham were playing attractive football and losing every week, it wouldn't take long before people will say, like, well, what's going on? Like, why we keep losing? We're playing attractive football. We're looking good. We're having loads and loads of chances, but we're not winning games. Like, so you can't have it both ways. Do you know what I'm saying? And also, I'll say this. I just want to say this, Charlie, quick, yeah?
No, that's fair, yeah.
Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. They can't defend for love or money. They can't defend. They've got no ounce of defensive like knowledge at all. Yeah, they lose every single week. Do you think any of their fans are going, well, at least we play attractive football? Do you know? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I 100% understand the want to play attractive football, and I am usually like that as well. I much prefer playing it, and I remember having conversations, for example, after Big Sam had left, and we were talking about I was talking to some people at West Ham, went to a match, we were having a conversation about, it was going very poorly at the time. I can't remember if it was under Pellegrini or Slav or who it was. It was going very poorly, and people were having a conversation about like, oh, maybe we should like we need a Big Sam type, or would you take Big Sam back and all these other things when we looked like we were going down? And for me, no, but that's because I don't think we had the ceiling we have now. I don't think we have the base we have now. It was probably Pellegrini. I feel like if you'd asked me, for example, with that, I would say no. Partly because Big Sam is just a toxic influence. Partly because he's also an absolute wrong one. Absolute wrong. But also, like, I'm someone who, in general, I don't mind playing worse if we're trying to play more attractive football. But in the scenario we're in specifically right now, where we're competing in Europe, we're winning trophies, and we're winning consistently, I'm not someone who's gonna. That supersedes it for me personally in this stage.
It comes with a cost. It comes with a cost, and I've said it a million times, and it's just like the perfect example. Like what we saw under Pellegrini. That is the definition of, well, we lost 5-0 today, but we looked really good going forward. But we got cut open like a hot butter on knife. Like that's all I'm saying, and I agree with Charlie. Like, I would love to see more aggressive, forward-thinking football, but it comes at a cost. And at West Ham United, where we don't have a history of winning a lot or winning when we should. This feels fantastic, regardless of the way we play. When you were gone, I was telling Charlie, we're not too far off COVID ball. I think we're a little bit more defensive than COVID, but I mean, I love picking up 3 points.
Lucas, what it is we're cute now. We're sensible. We're not being naive and thinking to ourselves, oh, we're 2-0 up, let's go for 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, when we've got a game on Thursday with no fans. That's what I'm liking with West Ham. West Ham are being professional in their approach. West Ham have a big game on Thursday night. Yeah, fans will complain if a player goes down injured because we're going for the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th. Yeah. Today, they get the job done, right? I'll watch that second half through, and Charlie, you probably watched that second half too, right? Through gritted teeth, like going, like this is just dreadful. But there is a bigger picture here. West Ham are in 4 competitions. West Ham can't keep like what do fans want? Do they want West Ham to go, okay, and we'll just go and blast teams out? Because if that is the case, then until Moyes goes, you're never going to see it. You're just never going to see it. And you just got to be real, right? Do you know what I mean? And for me, 7 games in, 4 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats, I will take that. Yes, please. Like, I've seen enough shit where West Ham haven't won a game in 7, let alone like win 4 in 7.
Also, for me, is the idea that I think we're taking steps towards that, towards what people who are unhappy with it. I think we're taking steps towards that. I think again, the defense, how comfortable we are with playing it around and stuff like that. I think we're certainly taking steps towards that. If you compare the style of football that we're playing now compared to the second half of last season or even the season before that, I think we're a lot more comfortable on the ball. And part of that is just having a lot more better players, but also we're finding the right way to make the balance between those two things work. I'm still of the mindset that I suspect Moyes will. Gio and Gonzo feel differently, to be honest, but I'm still of the mindset that I believe Moyes will probably go at the end of the season unless we win another trophy or we are very competitive in a trophy, be it the Premier League or in the Europa League or the Europa Conference League if you drop down, or the FA Cup or whatever. Unless we're very competitive on those things, I still suspect Moyes would go. Right. And I think what you would see if we were to get in another manager who would be more progressive and would be more attacking or however you want to word it, I think you would still see largely the exact same sort of things we're seeing when we're in possession of the ball deep. You would see Paquetá drop deep potentially on the left hand side. You would see Alvarez getting involved in the build up and again and all that stuff. You would see all that stuff. I think actually we've taken a large step towards it. And last season our mistake was we tried to take a large step towards it, but it was also we tried to do it all at once and it really did not work. We tried to change our style, we tried to change our formation, we tried to change everying about us. It just didn't work.
Like what you're saying is, I feel that's exactly how I feel when new players come in. But please keep going.
Yeah, and I think when what was I going to say? So when you look at Brighton, for example, that's a great example of a team who were once incredibly defensive, like even more defensive than David Moyes' style. And then you have what you have now under De Zerbi and all that stuff. It didn't just happen overnight. They didn't just skip from A to B. There's a bit Limmy does, the comedian. There's a bit he said on his stream watch that I remember all the time. He's like time goes from here to here. It doesn't just all fucking happen here. And I think with us there is a sense of that where we are trying to get from here to here. And last season we tried to do it all here. Whereas now we've gone, okay, let's take steps towards that. And when you integrate the likes of Aged into there, Emerson being a starter, Paquetá out on the left, then you start to go, right, the next step is you get Curtis involved. Maybe Curtis can start getting involved.
Slow and steady wins the race.
We look exactly. Then you go, okay, what kind is a different striker who's a step towards that? Okay, what can we do on the right hand side? Because right now we have a very functional right hand side that's hardworking, and we have a really nice, flary left hand side. What can we do with that right hand side? We can take those steps, and we eventually get to the place. And that's also what's keeping me calm. Is I'm not looking at it and going, this is us for the rest of time. I'm looking at it and going, for the now, this makes sense. We're doing really nicely. We're doing well. We're winning matches. And then, hey, if Moyes ends at if Moyes goes at the end of the season, then we have the blueprint. We have the solid base that the next guy can then build on to do something more with. And that's really nice. That's something we haven't had for a long
listen,
time.
I think the way you articulated that was pretty good. Yeah. But I'm going to say this. If we have the next 3 games, which is Newcastle, Villa, and I'm not sure who the other one is. I think it's Everton. I think, at home, right? and just for argument's sake, we win one, we draw one, we lose one. Yeah, I would still say this is a pretty good start to a season when we've lost our best player. Yeah, and we've brought in 2 players like who are starters regularly now, who have hit the ground running. Like what I can't get is when people say about attacking football over the result. They would rather see attacking football and they don't care about the result, but they will soon care about the fucking result if we start losing games, and we are fighting in a relegation battle. They'll soon worry about that. They go, oh, well, we can't be fucking going down, but they can't have it when we're being in a defensive mould. Now, someone said it earlier on in the chat, I've just remembered it now. They said about, you're saying about attacking football. Manchester United have got a better squad than us, and better, but they can't defend. Chelsea have got fucking spent £1 billion. They can't defend. Like West Ham can defend, and what people can understand is West Ham are a good defensive side. So if we have to win games 2-0 and be professional about it, who really cares? Like who really cares? Like no one really cares. Like as long as we get the result at the end. Do you know what I'm saying? I know I'm going on a bit, but I feel very strongly about this. Like I feel like I've watched West Ham, and you have, Charlie, over the years, and I've seen moments with West Ham where we've been very good attacking side, but we can't defend. Like we've never been one of them sides where we go forward, we look good. I remember like 03, 06, to name them seasons, like the final season.
I think even Bilic's first season, we were having to score 4 goals because we were conceding 3 every game.
Exactly. Now that's all well and good. That's all well and good if you're on the right side of the result. If you're getting the result and you're on the right side of it and you're winning, I can understand that, But if you start losing games, people will go, well, like we've lost our last 3 in a row. But let's be honest, we lost against Manchester City and Liverpool, Against in the Manchester City game, we was in that game. It was 2 errors really. The first error from after half time, which it wasn't switched on, which people are saying Moyes, but I blame the players there because they come out slow. And the Aguerd error is just a major howler there, Even Liverpool, same thing again. We're in the game at half time and we let it slip, right? Against the big teams, we're making little tiny errors that are killing us, Against these teams, we played Sheffield United and Luton now, And let's be honest, we've done the professional job twice. Luton was a professional job. It was 2-0 up. People say we got lucky there. I don't get that one. I really don't. And today, people are going to probably criticise it and say, well, we should have beat this team 5-0. But this team, Sheffield United, just about got beat by Manchester City, And 2 weeks ago today, Tottenham literally done them in the 100th minute. But West Ham beat them 2-0 and it ain't good enough. It is madness, mate. It really is. It really, really is. Anything else you lads want to add before we wrap this up?
On to Germany. Looking forward to it.
Thomas Soucek, what a guy. What a guy, man. My guy. What a dude.
My Balkan cousin.
Popping up at the stage, slotting it home. No stress. Love to see it.
I know, mate. I'm getting stressed with like people said about attacking football. But listen, I'm happy. 4 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats. What more do you want from being a West Ham fan right now? 5th in the league, I think it is. That's what I'm talking about. That's where I want to see West Ham be. Big club. Do you know what I mean? But on to Germany. Thursday. Big game. Like I really hope West Ham turn up in that game knowing that there's no fans there. It's going to be hostile for the Freiburg fans are going to be on it. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. But let's hope we can get a positive result there in Newcastle next Sunday. I think it's 2:00 kickoff. So more entertainment. Listen, I'm going to leave it there. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to E20 Zone TV. We like a good debate on this channel. I will say that, but it is what it is. And we will be back later on for the player ratings, I think. I will discuss it with Lucas shortly. Anyway, Lucas, roll the outro. We are done.